must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast. I'm your co-host, Ryan Jett, and I guess this is our de facto holiday episode. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy belated Hanukkah, and then, of course, the Festivus for the rest of us, all the things. That being said, here's a little peek behind the curtain. The boys and I will be recording an all-new episode next week, which will be our actual holiday episode. But more importantly, new content, baby. In the meantime, if you would like to hear our sumptuous voices, other than this, Aaron was on our friend Mike's podcast, Mike Cybert Radio, episode number 187, talking about A Star is Born and MP44 Optimus Prime. I am on Mike's show, I believe dropping tomorrow, Christmas Day, episode 191, where Mike and I discuss the Star Trek / Transformers crossover comic book series from IDW, in particular the Transformer version of the Enterprise Fortress Tiberius. Later next week, I'm also on another episode, I think it'll be 192 of Mike's show, where we talk about the extremely unfortunate Den Toys chest add-on for Fantoys RC, which is Rouge. Oh boy, hold on just a second. Okay. I'm sure you can guess what our feelings about it were, but how weird would it be if you tuned in and I was like, I think it's about time that we had a disgusting fleshy tits on a Transformer figure. It's so brave. Our time is nigh. It's not that. It's not that at all. In the meantime, we are up to Script Deviations numero cuatro. I switched it up there. Oh, it's Spanish on your asses. Keep them guessing. That's the APDC promise. Today, we cover episode 51 through 64, starting with the Alicons and the Universal Greeting and running up to the fight with Junkions. So, without further ado, pitter-patter, let's get at her.
Wow.
Well, hey, that's awesome.
Deviations.
I'm hoping that Ryan has more craziness than this, but this, Aaron here speaking. My script, the only real deviation is that it says that it's Sharkticons that arrive from the marshy area. So I think originally they envisioned Sharkticons, and at some point down the line, and this is. My script is fairly close to what we see on screen, or closer to what we see on screen than what Ryan's is. Somewhere between this script and the screen, they invented a whole new race of characters or ethnic group or whatever you call them from a Transformer
These are Alicons,
perspective.
right?
And, I mean, that's more work, so I don't know why they do that. But Alicons seem to have more intelligence than Sharkticons. I think Alicons... actually, I don't know. I think that, they can speak. Sharkticons can't even talk. So, I don't know, it's like a middle race. And we talked earlier about how it's theorized or that all these creations on the planet of Quintessa are experiments. And they're also experiments of the Quintessons. So they've got some sort of, lower level, the fish and the squid.
He gave them simple brains.
They've got higher level, which might be these guys, the Alicons, and then sort of a middle level, which would be the Sharkticons that have a little bit more intelligence, but at the same time, they still just keep them in a pit.
They're goons.
They're goons.
They are goons.
They're all different versions of goons. So, Ryan, what is your...
In the margins of one of this, I'll skip through it because I actually wrote so wordy because it just goes on for... This goes on for 4 pages. But I'm going to...
Scene?
Yes. I'll sum it up.
Good God.
Basically, Aaron, as you said in the last
There's
minute...
more time of him wrestling around in his crotch pocket.
3 of the pages are that.
Wait, that's not it. No, that's not it.
As you said in the last minute, Aaron, Cup transforms and it's evident that a fender was misplaced and a wheel mounted improperly, so he wobbles and rides unevenly with much chugging and oil spewing. And then Cup says...
There's going to be oil spewing once he reaches into that belt.
Oh, hey-oh!
Chug, chug.
Ba-boom.
Skeet, skeet, skeet. Chrome cross-coots of Cybertron. I told ya pot was missing. Of all the ding-brang circuit glitching diode blowing dimwittery. So that's where that comes in right there.
Good Lord.
Cup is using a homing scanner to try to find the Dinobots, is what's happening. And Cup says, hurry up, I'm getting a peculiar alien reading. Hot Rod transforms. He looks off into the area in question and says, we're wasting time. The Dinobots might be in trouble. Or maybe it's RC out there, surrounded by aliens.
Oh, call back to potential romantic feelings between Hot Rod and RC.
Yeah, and it's Cup.
He doesn't care about Springer.
Cup basic, that's
Ultra
true.
Magnus.
Ultra Magnus, Blur, Perceptor.
Ultra Magnus, our new leader, might be in
Yeah.
trouble. No, it's all about RC.
I would hardly call Ultra Magnus a leader.
Fair enough.
And then Cup literally gives him the palm and is like, I'm the one with the fantasy stories, remember? Which is
The fantasy story.
weird.
Fantasy story.
So, I guess that's Hot Rod's fantasy of, she's in
tell
danger
ya.
and he has to save her. And then they haven't even encountered the people yet where Cup unhinges a small case at his belt, or dick, and presses a series of buttons.
Small case.
Ooh.
In his junk.
And in this one, the universal greeting is shorter. It's just, Grog, weep, ninny bong.
Grog. Where's it written? But it's grog na weep nini bong. Grog na.
So the
weep,
elements
nini
are
bong.
there. I guess they feel like they had to extend it, make it more magnanimous, which I think is a good choice.
Sure.
Is
Yeah, I like
magnanimous
it.
a word that makes sense in this conversation?
What?
No. And then they encounter, and in my script too, Aaron, it says Sharkticons. And then he gives them the universal greeting, gives them the treat, and basically, gosh, there's so that we can entirely skip that whole page where he's just trying to get Hot Rod to repeat the greeting correctly. I'm like, I don't know that.
No, Hot Rod.
You say it like this. Don't. He literally says, "Don't forget to smile."
It's not, and the way it's presented, it's not that tough. It's shorter than the one we see on screen.
Hot Rod says, "Eating out of our hand, huh? If we don't get out of here soon, they'll start eating out of my face."
Oh God, that's problematic for many reasons.
And then Cup takes a beat and looks around at all of them, and he socks several Sharkticons aside and runs interference for Hot
just
Rod.
starts hitting them?
Yep, and says, "Go, lad!" And that's what we're.
Oh, he knows. So he knows. So instead of what we see on screen, which is Cup makes a lot of bad decisions as to how treacherous
He
the
handles
beings
that
in front of
really
them
poorly.
are. Yeah, in this version of the script, he recognizes that there's problems. He gives it a little shot and recognizes it's not going to work. So he just lashes out. And
To me, it sounds like he's a crazy person.
He does sound very insane in
Because
this.
he's like, I got this. Grog
But
na
his
wa
re-
nini bong. Oop, and then just starts smacking him
But
around.
that
Let's
makes
get out
more
of here.
sense. That didn't
I
work.
guess.
I need to pop these guys and get out of here. In what we see on screen, he says, it's gonna work. No, it's gonna work. No, it's gonna work. We're being tackled by them. We're captured. And I gotta say that my scene is basically the same, except there was no judgment murder scene. In my version of the script, Hot Rod and the Cup and the Cup.
It's like BJ and the Bear.
Yeah,
That's their.
They're just marched onto a cell, and that's kind of how it goes. And that's the only difference.
From now on, I'm going to refer to them as Hot Rod and the Cup.
That is their sitcom spinoff.
1970s.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dun, 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 dun.
Mine is pretty much the same, Aaron. There's not that much different. I just wanted to read some of the lines that they have in here because it's quite ridiculous. Basically, they get herded in. And Cup says there's Sharkticons that are herding them in this, and Hot Rod says, "What are they?" to Cup, and Cup says, "Near as I can make out on the lingo translator, they call themselves Sharkticons."
Lingo translator?
Yeah, he had a translator, I guess.
A lingo translator.
What was that in the Douglas Adams universe? The
Babelfish.
Babelfish.
You put it in your ear, and then they call themselves Sharkticons. Cup, Hot Rod says, "Cute. What do they want with us?" Cup says, "I'm not sure, but they keep repeating one disturbing remark over and over. We eat."
Oh, shit.
That doesn't sound good, Caleb.
Yep. And then they lead them into the again, like Aaron, you said, there's no murder situation, but they lead them into that main area. And Hot Rod says, "Holy lithium lilacs!"
Lithium lilacs.
That's what my mom's birthday's today. And that's
I'll buy her some lithium lilacs.
Yeah, please do.
Would your dad be mad if I sent your mom flowers and they showed up a little late?
Nope.
I just love your mom.
Couldn't they be lithium lilacs?
Those don't exist.
We're doing great. So basically, then we feature the leader, Quintesson, who is taller and wears a different color robe. So that's probably clearly from this earlier Floro Dairy design.
Right. He was wearing a robe.
He's watching the arrival of Cup and Hot Rod, and his faces rotate.
Oh, no, he's not.
Yeah, so it goes from smiling face to suspicious face to angry face to furious grimace. And Hot Rod says, "If they had a handsome contest here, nobody would win."
Oh, Hot Rod.
Mm-hmm. And then the Sharkticons shove and prod them, jolting him into a holding pen, and Cup says, "I hope you get a toothache in every fang, you BB-brained rattletrap."
What the fuck is Cup supposed to be?
Insane. He's out of his mind.
He's like the stereotype of every, like, busted old Clint Eastwood style.
He clearly has dementia.
And then Hot Rod delivers the line of, "We got to get a new travel agent," and that's it.
He says we've got to get a new travel agent.
That's in the original. They kept it.
They kept it all the way through.
All the way. He said it in the movie.
Wow.
All right, so longtime listeners, of course, will know, and new listeners should know, that I typically go first because my version of the script is maybe 2 degrees away from what we see on screen, although there are still some interesting details. And Ryan's script is an early draft, maybe a second or third, a Ron Friedman original that is bonkers, and so we like to let him go last so we can see what this thing was like in its raw states. And so, at any rate, with mine, the notes that I have are that restraints weren't added until after Cup and Hot Rod were put into the cell. They were put in the cell, and that's when restraints are added, as opposed to what we see, which is
the complete
opposite.
Okay. Weird.
Kranix connects the Quintessons directly to Unicron, saying it is their job to track down those who try to escape Unicron's wrath and put them on trial.
Okay.
So the movie, and I don't even think the television show connected
I don't think so
to
at all.
Unicron at all. There was some additional dialogue. Hot Rod asks, "What if they're innocent?" And Kranich says, "Guilty or innocent, the sentence is always the same: death." and he also goes into more description about what Unicron is after Hot Rod asks who's Unicron. Kranich says, "A planet 6 times the size of this one that absorbs everything in its path." And Hot Rod wonders if there's a connection between Unicron and Galvatron. Yeah, I don't like that 6. I'm glad they cut that out because Unicron is clearly much
Also,
larger.
it's an unnecessary
it's
statement of
just
scale.
Like, okay, 6 times. Okay.
I don't know how big this planet is, so great.
It's pretty random. Most people would say 10, 5, 10.
I would just say much
20, 100.
Much larger. Much larger.
Or just a planet.
Which is what they ended up
Right.
with. So great choices. That's all I've got.
Okay, this one's pretty. I mean, it's similar in that we're in the same setting, but it's pretty different. We start off with the Hot Rod looking around. Like in the last minute, he says, "We got to get a new travel agent." What kind of place is this? And then from off camera, figure moves forward slightly and speaking in a harsh basso voice. His name is Granix with a G in this one because this script is still operating on the fact that they are creatures made of granite and stone. Which is a terrible name. It'd be like if someone was named like Humani or so, like Granix made of granite. That's great. Like
Humani?
like a human.
Oh.
It was a terrible. I couldn't think off the cuff.
Made of humans.
Yes.
Or like,
More like Carboni.
like Woodix.
Carboni is a Carboni jet. That's my new nickname.
Like Woodix, made of wood.
How about ceramic Tilex?
Something like Tyvex.
Plastic X?
Plastex.
Glass X.
You had to get one in. You were sick of us, but you still got one in yourself.
Okay, so several other pathetic prisoners are also out in their cells as well. They're all Autobot Robotoid type creatures, which is the strangest phrasing. Granix says this is a place of execution if you're lucky. I'm Granix, rector of the planet Lethone. That made me giggle.
What is a rector?
It's like I don't know, like
My dick.
that's rectum. Damn near killed him.
What is a rector?
I think it's like an organizer or like a city planner or like a councilman, something like that. I don't know. Rectum. Cup says they're the Autobots of Cybertron, now Earth. I'm Cup and this youngster is Hot Rod.
We don't need to be all informal and jovial as we're sitting in the prison cell awaiting death.
And then he actually says in this that the world is called Quintesson, and the Sharktacons are a primitive tribe of cannibals. They serve only their accursed masters, five-faced Quintessons themselves. And then Cup and Hot Rod say, we've only seen four faces. And Krennic shudders and says, Fortune grant that's all you ever see. The Quintessons are feeble but possessed of a cruel intelligence. They send their Sharktacons out to round up any unlucky enough to land here, then put them on trial for trespassing. But what if you're innocent? Guilty or innocent makes no difference. The sentence is the same, like in yours, Aaron. Mm-hmm. Up to this point, we've seen no executions in the script. Mm-hmm. And basically, the sentence is always the same: to be eaten. And then the Quintesson points through there, and points through the door up as he points through the door. The Sharktacons go in. Granix says, "No, have pity!" And they start. The Sharktacons come for him. He falls to his knees. They drag Granix out of the cell. And then, but as that's happening, Cup belts one, so I guess they're in the same cell. Mm-hmm. And Hot Rod drop kicks the other, battering the Sharktacon guard who tries to use the cattle prod device. But then he gets them away, basically like we see at the end of this. And the Quintesson says, "Soon you two shall receive your sentence. It would be well for you to watch, so you will know what fate to expect." And that is where we'll stop there.
And we talked about this last episode in your script, Ryan. And it's funny. My script has notes in it that are kind of like the person who found the script and transcribed it to the internet put in it to like note that they know things are wrong about it. There's little footnotes. So my script, this is where my script misspells Kranix as Granix about 3 or 4 times. And there's little footnotes that are like, it's supposed to be Kranix. I don't know why they did this. So that's awesome that you have the explanation for it. What a lazy switchover. Well, they're not stone anymore. What should we do?
Honestly, I think they did that so that they could kill them. Because if they're organic rock, that is a little closer to like a living thing.
Oh, wow.
And I just
have you read that?
No, that's just my own theory.
I just like the concept that they're still like mechanical somehow, like similar to like.
I like to think that they're cousins, offshoots, maybe.
Which back on, like
they immigrated.
Speaking of the rocks, that like back on episode 51 on our web page, I in that picture of my war that I had on the couch with the toys, there are some rock lords in there, which are basically
I think they were GoBots.
Yeah, they were. I think they were GoBots. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So in my version of the script, the dissolve after Kranix's death is to the team on Junk, not to the Dinobots.
Oh.
So that's how they planned it originally. But when it does reintroduce the Dinobots, there are all kinds of traps. Not just we saw that pit open up, that spiky pit, but there's all kinds of other traps being sprung all around them, narrowly missing while the Dinobots ignorantly stumble about it. At some point, there's like a Venus flytrap that almost eats Swoop as he's flying about. There's the spiked pit, and then there's also some kind of sword tree that springs into action at a certain point and just narrowly like flops down over on top of them and narrowly misses them. So lots of
dangerous.
Very dangerous planet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm assuming much like the animal-esque life, the plant life maybe is also designed by the Quintessons for murderous intent.
Absolutely. Is that all you had?
That's it.
All right. Mine is pretty different. In this one, the Sharktacons basically in their last episode they took Granix, out of the cell as we see it in the movie. But he's thrust into an arena in a fenced ring and handed a long-handled stun stick. Which delivers an explosive electrical charge. So essentially,
he has a fighting chance.
Yeah, what this becomes is it's like gladiatorial as opposed to a Sharktacon pit.
I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the lead Quintesson says, "Trespasser, hear me. Your punishment is prescribed by Quintesson law. Extermination by consumption." And then his face rotates to his fifth expression, a death's head. And Cup says, "The fifth face!"
There it was. It was a slow build to
it. And they mentioned it, and then they carried through on showing it.
Boy, you sure did. The fifth face.
The fifth face?
And then the shark...
I've only seen 4.
Oh, there it is! He dropped the fifth face! And then the Sharktacons, there are 4 of them that are attacking Kranix. He manages to take out 2 of them, but then the other 2 basically attack him and consume him. And then Cup says, not the wind. Not the end I'd wish for, lad. And then Hot Rod says, then we better figure something out before we're called into the arena. I didn't break my transducer to pass cosmic algebra just to wind up as a main course at a Sharktacon buffet.
College or something? Autobot
It's
college?
a convoluted
He's young.
college joke.
He's young.
The Sharktacons start herding them away. Then we see the castle-like structure where we cut to the Dinobots. And Grimlock says that he thinks that Cup and Hot Rod are close. And then in this one, Sludge is the one who is like, I don't think that's true. And they actually make fun of him. The other 3 make fun of him. Slag says, him Grimlock sensitive. Blah, blah, blah. Snickering laugh. Sludge, sensitive. Shakes head. Swoop say tee-hee. Swoop say tee-hee-hee.
What?
Because Grimlock's like, basically he says, me Grimlock think Cup and Hot Rod close. Me Grimlock sensitive to friends.
God.
I should have read that before that, but yeah.
So in this world, they're super macho and nobody.
Yeah, it's quite, and that's basically where we'll end up there.
All right, no cesium salami.
Oh, I'm sorry. To cap that off, at the end of all that mockery, Sludge says, "Oh, what's sensitive mean?"
Oh, God.
They're dumb guys.
Oh, it's so bad. It's
So there's
so
no salami,
bad.
no bologna, no traps.
Well,
no...
not yet.
Oh, hold up.
Wait a minute.
Save it for next time. Okay. Do a script deviation rhyme.
Something like, don't hesitate to deviate.
I was thinking more along the lines of, I know you're in the middle of procreation.
Now it's time for a script deviation.
Those were both terrible.
I like how he started
do better.
And I can't, but I didn't stop the show to do it.
So this is Aaron, and as everybody knows, my script is a little closer to what we see on screen, but there's still some interesting little, diversions. And my script refers to Wheelie. We just talked about the book, The Wild Boy of Quintessa. My script refers to Wheelie as the Wolf Boy of Quintessa.
So just straight up Jungle Boy.
Yeah. It does not mention his backstory about it, or I'm sorry, it also mentions his story about his parents' ship crashing. So there's like this whole paragraph about his parents' ship crashed there. They died in the crash, and that. But it's interesting that they never talk about that in the movie. It also says that he wears a necklace of Sharktacon teeth,
Like in the Big Looker book.
Yeah. Packs a 3-bladed laser knife. I guess that's what that is supposed to be, without minus 2 blades. And has a special sling in which he hurls fire stones. Sling versus slingshot. We've already covered this. His intro to the Dinobots, as opposed to what we heard, is Many-face lie, you fool, you buy.
That's more confusing.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I think I know where he's going with the many-face lie thing. A little warning. Don't know about the fool buy thing, but like buy their stories. They don't. It's not like they have any stories. They just kill you.
Well,
anyway, Ryan, take it over, please.
That may actually play in to mine. If you remember from last episode, we were just on Grimlock had said that he's sensitive to his to Hot Rod and Cup, and then the Dinobots make fun of him, and then Sludge says, "Oh, what's sensitive mean?" And Grimlock roars angrily, "Shut your face is what it means. Me Grimlock say friends close, you see."
Oh, he's rhyming again?
Nah,
There's no rhyming.
there's not. That's not.
But the way
rhyme.
you said it was very.
It was.
It was like
yeah.
an iambic pentameter.
Iambic pentameter, yeah.
I was expecting a rhyme.
And then he looks down and sees a Sharktacon. The Sharktacon opens its jaws wide and takes a bite out of Grimlock, chews for a brief beat, and then, just as Grimlock is complaining and reaching down to squash him, pulls away, spits out bits of the Dinobot hide metal, and makes a face, sticking out his tongue and making terrible sounds like a baby who tastes liver and can't wait to get rid of it.
Raspberry.
Yeah. And so Grimlock says, "Get off, you thing." So, okay, the Grimlock reaches down to smash the Sharpticon. It runs across the bridge through a small doggy door-like entrance beside the larger castle door. Me Grimlock no like little chompers. Come back so I can mash you. And so, as Sharkticon is...
I like we're building the history between
It's so crazy.
The Sharkticons and the Dinobots. That'll pay off
really
later
odd.
for us in the real movie,
A little
I
bit.
suppose.
That's why it was so tough to like organize this. But the Sharkticon runs in and talks to other Sharkticon guards who listen to him act out the fact that he has tasted a huge thing, which tasted terrible.
He acts it out.
Wait, the Sharkticon pantomimes?
Because I guess they
Yes.
can't talk.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does he talk?
No, not really.
No, he acts it
He
out.
just says blah.
Only the
Is that what it
Alicons
says?
can...
Yeah, he says blah. Yeah. And then Grimlock, the other Dinobots, start for the door, and it opens, and a smiling Quintesson comes out. Greetings, noble strangers. And Grimlock says, yes, me Grimlock, noble, but you stranger, not Grimlock. And there's this whole, I'm going to skip all this because it's a back
This
and
sounds
forth.
like
It's exhausting.
This sounds like the scene in Wizard of Oz where they get to the entrance to the Emerald City.
But yeah,
It's more just like the whole thing in this
Yeah.
script earlier where Bumblebee like reverse psychologies Grimlock into thinking he's smart. That's exactly what this Quintesson does, and it's stupid. He basically tells him, oh, your friends aren't here. Go away now. And so they do. And they lumber off, Swoop cackling as he mutters, Grimlock wrong. Tee-hee, Grimlock wrong. And then
Because he flew over the shit and he was like, there they are.
the lead Quintesson says, they'll return, and when they do, they must not find their friends here. His face rotates. I sentence them to consumption. His death head appears. And then...
is that the fifth face?
Yep.
Wait a minute. What was that sentence in consumption in reference to? The
Hot Rod and Cup. He's
Oh,
like,
so
the
that's
Dino. He thinks the
happening
Dinobots
as-
are going to come back because he
Okay.
led them off,
They
but
gotta
they're
get
going to
rid
come
of
back.
them.
Okay.
And then we
word.
have the long
So
shot.
at this moment in the movie, we're dealing with something we haven't actually seen on screen yet, which is Hot Rod and Cup's.
Well, they haven't done it yet. He's saying we need to do that now.
Okay.
And then we cut to the Galvatron in deep space. He flies toward the camera, reacts to sounds of the soda straw sucking and lip smacking, in which the cold beam, as in Jester's energy draining straw, keeps sucking up all that shit. And Galvatron says, hear me, Ingester. I, Galvatron, demand an audience. I looks up, off, aghast. Ingester! And then we'll cut there.
All right. The first scene with Galvatron and Unicron happens before the Dinobot Beryllium Bolonium scene in my version of the script, which is fairly inconsequential. And it starts off with the same, Galvatron asking why he's tortured him. Unicron explains the failure. Galvatron says Ultra Magnus and the Matrix are destroyed, to which Unicron explains the Matrix cannot be destroyed.
Oh.
Like, he should have said that right off the top,
Well,
if that's the case.
What the
by
fuck?
way.
Oh,
Wait.
But-
Didn't you say earlier in your script that he specifically says destroy the
No.
Autobot Matrix?
I think in your script, Aaron, he says, "Get it for me, like bring it,
Right.
bring it to
Oh,
me."
bring me the Matrix. That's right. That's right. Okay.
Right. And so in that sense, I guess Galvatron is failing him.
Yeah,
in every
he just
chance.
didn't
He's-
take notes.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I got the gist of it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all the same, right? But anyway, that would be helpful up front. He also goes on to say that Ultra Magnus is at the planet of junk. Stalk him, cut him open, and bring the Matrix to me.
Cut him
So,
open?
Yeah, a little.
Oh, to cut it out.
Cut him,
Okay.
yeah.
Cut it out.
And the scene on Junkion happens.
Sorry, I just
Night Court
imagined.
reference.
No. That's from Family Matters.
Yeah.
It was
No, it's from
no,
Full House.
Full House. That's what I meant.
Oh.
What's his name? I can't remember the actor's name, but
Joey.
cut it out. I just imagined him as Unicron.
The worst casting. The scene on Junkion happens right after the moon base with Spike and Bumblebee gets destroyed, so that's a little sequential difference.
Okay.
And around the same time that we see Perceptor bossing people around, Daniel finds out his own suit has Swiss Army-like parts, like a welder, which Blur teaches him to use.
Cool.
Basically,
Dave
everything else is
Coulier.
the same. Thank you. He had his own show that came on after Full House that was like, I feel like it was a prank show. I think
my
it
God,
lasted
I
a
don't remember
season
that
or
at
something
all.
like that. I always hated that guy.
Did he do voices on it? Because he loved doing voices.
He's like
He seems like
Johnny the Squirrel.
yes. He seems
he's a
like
broke dick Frank Welker.
oh shit. He seems like a nice guy in what I've read of like and seen of him in person, but like man, I can't with the act.
I always thought Frank Welker was the broke dick Frank Welker. Sorry.
You did say broke dick Mel Blanc at one
That's
point.
true.
Securing our hatred and rivalry with
Yeah,
Frank
we
Welker.
can never have anyone on the show because we've said terrible things about
Are
everybody.
insulting. So Ryan, what's in your script?
Well, okay, I had to actually go back and read the script earlier because the last time we saw Galvatron was like a staggering 27 pages ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so I went back and read it, and what we saw was it was when he destroys, quote unquote, Ultra Magnus' shuttle and tells Cyclonus to go to the Earth base because Galvatron intends to claim the fruits of this victory from Ingester personally. And so that's where that starts.
Gotcha.
That's where we're catching up to that point.
Gotcha.
So, okay.
Claim the fruits, not destroy the Matrix.
Well, he thinks it's destroyed or whatever. All right, Unicron is now twice as big or as large as before, and its colors have changed again. And we move closer, we see that the features on Unicron, the tree trunks and grasses, have fattened and become sleeker, fuller, and like the rest of Unicron, brighter. Galvatron, voiceover. Your planet has become truly majestic, Ingester. Huge, beyond dreams of vastness.
Who's saying that?
That's Galvatron.
Okay.
And so he settles down on Unicron, and he says, "Perhaps you fed too deeply of the energy of Earth. Much more, and your appetites may exceed wisdom. You may hunger for Cybertron itself. That I cannot allow." And there's a bellowing roar, and the ghostly voice of Ingester. "I? You dare speak of I?" That's anyway. Never.
Your
trying
Ingester
to-
is Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Are you trying
I was
to,
doing
are
a
you
ghostly
trying-
voice. So I was taking your bit.
trying
Yeah.
to be ghosted?
Cybertron if I want.
I, you dare speak of I. And then there's another belching roar, and he says, "You are my worm. You are not an I." And Galvatron says, "I've served you well, I." "You have failed to complete your mission. The one called Ultra Magnus still exists." And then he says, "It's impossible. Deny me not, blah, blah, blah." There's a lot of words in here. And then he says, "You will do my bidding. I shall mark the way for you." And there's a cold ray that separates into a pulsing dotted line of light arcing down through space as Galvatron sinks to his knees, hands to his throat, eyes wide with terror. So basically, what this is Unicron is making a Pilot Wings style path to the planet of junk.
Okay, interesting.
And then the tree trunk lashes out, whips Galvatron up and into space where he bounces off a pulsing marker and sent out by Ingester. And then
I still need to understand, like, do they reference him as Unicron in your script yet, or is he just called Ingester?
I can't... yes, because it says Unicron right here. So it's like both.
Okay.
I don't know.
Odd.
Yeah, maybe like Ingester's a title.
Maybe they're calling him Ingester. Well, we'll find out.
It's like Khaleesi.
But once he transforms in your script, then he is revealed as Galvatron, I guess.
You mean Unicron?
As Unicron, I mean.
So, and then after Galvatron's gone, Ingester says, "Cybertron, eh? Yes. Another moon would slake my hunger, though. Another moon." And he eats another moon.
You should
That makes sense.
You should edit out what
That
I
makes
said
sense
a while
with what
ago because I got the word Galvatron and Unicron confused, and that'll make no sense.
Nope.
And then we skip
It's
over...
part of your role as the everyman.
And so we skip to the planet of junk, and then we see that Blur and Springer are using their there's a flame jet from their finger to weld the knuckle joints of the new canopy. And there's a wide shot to include Daniel, and says, "This exosuit is fantastic. Want me to do that?" And Blur says, "Weld, really? You? Well, why not? Give it a try, but think it through first." And then this is another scene where he's thinking, welding.
Thinking?
Yes, exactly. And then we go to the Junkions, and this is what Retgar says. "Forward, Avanti, Apfel, and like. Go for gung-ho, friends and neighbors. Junkions, Ada." And that's where the Decepticon armada comes. Yeah. And then Retgar says, "Hang on, this be industrial strength marauder war. We watch and wait. By George and golly zimzam." And this is a description of what Retgar's supposed to sound like. Retgar speaks Junkanese, a language made up of all the Earth television and radio transmissions he's ever heard, and scraps of all language and idioms. He sounds like a cross between Henry Kissinger.
First of all, you have to remember when I went to China, I knew nothing about China. That's a great qualification for a secret mission, but it happens to be true.
A talk show host like Bert Parks.
Hi there, I'm Bert Parks. You know, I've been a Dodge owner for some time now, and nothing makes me happier than telling people about the new Dodge.
And Mr. Rogers on amphetamines.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan here, and I was gonna do a bit where I did a sped up version of Mr. Rogers' voice, the way it says in the script, but you know what? Fred Rogers is maybe the only purely and genuinely good and wonderful person who has ever existed in this world, so I'm not even gonna fuck with it. So let's get back to the show where I regularly make pedophile jokes and talk about Jim Jones. All right, bye.
So I had to look up who Burt Parks was. He was the guy, he's best known as the guy who hosted the Miss America from 1955 to 1979.
Okay. Makes sense.
And this is
60s pop culture references.
This is a truly insane combination. I can't even put in my mind what that would sound like. Henry Kissinger, Burt Parks, and Mr. Rogers? So they were just like, get Eric Idle.
Yeah.
Who basically does Eric Idle.
I'd like to see a conversation between Retgar and Blaster.
Interesting. Talking music.
Just talking nonsense.
That's right. Was Blaster another rhyming robot? I'm trying to remember if that was a shtick.
I don't know if it was in the show. He rhymes early on in the script, in my script anyway.
Okay.
I can't remember if he rhymes in the show, but he did say no way two can play.
That's true. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe, that's right.
Maybe he rhymes on demand. Okay.
Cover your receptors, Perceptor. I don't know. There's another rhyme.
I'm going to hop into it. My version of the script is mostly similar, except for the fact that Perceptor gets a kill, guys. That sequence where he and Magnus are running, he gets hit with a laser, and in the script, Magnus stops to help him, and as a sweep roars towards them, Perceptor transforms into a cannon and fires, obliterating the sweep, and then saying to Ultra Magnus that, "My lacerations were primarily superficial."
Oh. And Ultra Magnus is like, huh?
Right. And then Springer from far away, "He means he's not hurt." And that's the only difference in my script.
Oh, I don't have that. So in mine, this is Ryan. Springer, this is right after Ultra Magnus says, everyone away from the shuttle. We've got to draw them off and then double back. That's actually kind of more my Springer voice. Anyway, Springer says, "Scatter and follow me," which is a very confusing and conflicting set of instructions. And then it's basically the same as in the movie where RC just transforms and lights out without any word, and Daniel's like, "What do I do?" Where Blur says, "Transform, think it transform, you can do." Trent completes his transformation and roars off, "It."
What piece
yeah.
of shit?
He transforms during mid-sentence.
Yeah, and then ... it.
He's even a bigger dick in this version of the script.
And then in this one, actually, they have Ramjet and Dirge and what's the other guy's name? The Conehead. They have the Coneheads in here. I'm like,
Thrust.
oh yeah, the Coneheads are still alive. We don't see them in the movie, really.
Right. I think you'll see them a little bit later. I think one of them dies, maybe even on screen. But anyway. And
then basically, in this one, Shrapnel is still alive, so that's probably where the confusion comes up, because it does say it's Shrapnel and Scavenger. And then Human Germ made all the way, which is good. And then on Daniel, as his exosuit suddenly transforms into skeletal structured racing vehicle. And I'm like, oh yeah. In this script, the exosuit's like a weird cage around him, very strange. Exosuit spouting wheels and rocket boosters as Daniel takes off at great speed with delightful yell, driving through Scavenger and Shrapnel. Way to go!
That doesn't make sense.
I know.
He's complimenting himself as he smashes through them.
And then we're on Galvatron, where he says, "Separate and run them to the ground. I want none to survive." And that's basically where that minute ends.
All right.
I love it. I love some of the script
good
deviation.
If you like that, you'll love the next one. It is very insane.
So
we're in for an adventure for sure. Guys, I don't really have much that is that different from what we see on screen in my version of the script. The listener will recall that my version is closer to what we see on screen. Ryan has a version that is kind of an original first couple of drafts. And then we also have Mike on the line who has some extra stuff from the comic book and some extra, I think, some audio clips that sound very exciting. So just to get mine right out of the way, in my script, Ultra Magnus is struggling, and the interesting difference between what we see on screen and what happens in the script is that he's getting electric shocks while trying to pull. It's almost like the Matrix is punishing him for even trying to open the damn thing.
Like one of those terrible shock games that were popular like 8 years ago.
Right, yeah, exactly. Those popular things.
All right.
I don't know what you're talking about at all.
It's just sex thing.
Oh,
God damn it.
So Mike, what have you got for us?
Okay, so I got a couple things. Like you had mentioned, one of them is the original Marvel comic book adaptation from 1986, which I'll get to that in a sec. But first, hey Ryan. So you have the Lady Bird adaptation of the movie, right?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry. The storybook, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in general. I mean, not with you or whatever, but...
Yes, exactly. Yes, so, I do possess it.
So when you got it, did it happen to come with a cassette?
No, it did not.
Oh, very good. Well, so that a little bit on that Lady Bird storybook is that not only is it a storybook, but there's an audio cassette that goes with it. It's meant to be a read-along book. So what you do is you put in the cassette, you listen to it and read along in the book. You know, it's kind of like to help kids read a little bit. And I did some digging, and I actually found the full audio from that cassette, and I have some audio from the Lady Bird adaptation that covers this particular minute. And
Great.
I thought it would be fun to share because it's interesting. So are we ready for a quick audio interlude here?
Please.
Let's do it.
All right, let's fire this up.
The Autobots made a fighting retreat down a long valley. The junk piled on either side gave some protection from the Decepticon fire. Ultra Magnus brought up the rear. He waited until the Autobots were cleared. Then he fired his laser weapon to bring down some of the junk as a barrier behind them. Now he stood alone before the fury of the Decepticon attack. From a ridge nearby, Galvatron watched. Ultra Magnus opened his chest compartment and took out the Matrix. It pulsed with power, but a special shield prevented its full power from being released. Ultra Magnus pulled, but the shield remained firm.
Prime,
He cried.
you said the Matrix would light our darkest hour.
Then, at a command from Galvatron, a flight of his evil warriors raced overhead, and a salvo of cannon fire blasted Ultra Magnus. Galvatron seized the Matrix with a cry of triumph, and the battle was over. The Decepticons withdrew victoriously as quickly as they had arrived.
So...
Wow.
There's a lot to unpack.
That's intense.
I've never.
Holy
there's
shit, I shit my
many lasers,
pants.
So many lasers.
I know, they were constant, like, wall-to-wall lasers.
That was awesome. Okay.
Oh my god. So that was that's so many laser blasts. Okay, so moving on from that, so not a whole lot of differences there, but there is like this whole perspective of like this energy shield around the Matrix, which I hadn't really heard of before, and it's something that's not in this version from the comic book. So now
I wonder if that's relative to like the electrical energy they talked about shocking him, and maybe that was kind of the translation of that to that book form. And also, it was a missed opportunity. They never really showed Ultra Magnus
Open his chest.
Yeah, it was just in his hands all of a sudden.
And I will say that, like, on the cover of that Lady Bird book, it shows Hot Rod. It's a real spoiler. Shows Hot Rod holding the Matrix, but it's just the core. There's no like handles or anything. It's just the shining core.
Yeah, it's like a crystal ball,
like cell stuff.
No, it's an original It's an original drawing for the book, for the cover of the book. It's the only original art in the book.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think you guys have covered this before, kind of like the evolution of the design of the Matrix. It's like in different phases of production, it looks different. Like, sometimes it looks like a crystal ball, other times it looks like a rock, other times it looks like, the Matrix that we know. So that design went through several phases up until the final animation in the final movie. So I'm going to read a little bit from this comic book. Now, this was issue number 3 of the Transformers the movie adaptation from Marvel Comics. It was adapted by Ralph Macchio, and I have to warn you here, not the Karate Kid.
Not that Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, apparently this guy is like a guy that's a guy. Like, he's written like Spider-Man comics for like 30 years and is, a pretty prolific writer in terms of Marvel Comics. But he's trying to do a lot with a little in this comics adaptation. It's bonkers because like all of the speech bubbles are full of exposition. So they try to do a lot. So I'm going to try to get through this as best as I can. So we're going to pick up where Cyclonus and Galvatron kind of show up. Cyclonus comes to a halt in midair as Decepticon leader Galvatron leaps out to confront Autobot Chief Ultra Magnus. So we meet again, Autobot fool. Unicron, the planet eater, informed me that you had not died in our last encounter and that I would find you on Junkion, Galvatron says. You have something I desire. Give it to me now. Give me the leadership matrix. He says, pointing at it. And I'm going to take pictures of this to, forward to you guys to put up on the website if you'd like.
Sure.
So Ultra Magnus is seen struggling with a prototype version of the Matrix. It's just kind of like a green block. And the caption reads, "The Matrix, an Autobot object of unbelievable power that was recently passed on to Ultra Magnus by the late Autobot leader, Optimus Prime. Why won't the Matrix open? Prime said the Matrix would light our darkest hour, and now I can't even remove it from its casing." To which
Pretty casual dialogue there. It's like, I can't get the cap open.
And also, way to show your hand to the bad guys in front of you.
Because like Galvatron's like right there. So the next panel, it's Galvatron pointing and kind of like what we see in the movie, and the sweeps over his shoulder. The fool can't even make the leadership matrix works. Sweeps, quarter him is the order. You turn the page. So it's a panel of Ultra Magnus standing. The 4 sweeps come down. There's laser beams emitting from them with sound effects that say spring, spring, spring with various I's and N's and G's. It's very dramatic. And then the next panel, no defense is possible as the stunned Autobot commander is lifted by the 4 Decepticon sweeps. And it shows him with laser ropes around his arms and ankles, and he's holding the green Matrix cube. Despite Ultra Magnus's great strength, the beams begin to pull his trapped limbs taut. Inexorably, and actually in the illustration, there's like shaky lines, as like, he's being pulled. Inexorably, his body is stretched to the breaking point. Magnus says, I failed you, Optimus, failed you, and all those you left me to lead. I'm so sorry. So very sorry. And then in the next panel, he explodes, gets torn apart.
Yeah, we found a quick reference to this online. We're looking at this. That's really disturbing.
Isn't that brutal? That's the one. But then I love this because it kind of matches the movie. The Matrix just kind of falls into Galvatron's hands, and he says, just what I'd hope would fall into my hands. And the last panel is him holding the Matrix, not unlike the final movie, except if I don't know if you could see it on your version, but it's just basically like it's a green cube. It kind of looks like a delicious lime jello treat, but it's got like this weird plug on the side, like like the cap that Ultra Magnus couldn't open or something like you were talking about earlier. Maybe it's some kind of weird plug of some kind. Nothing, Ryan, really?
No, well, I was gonna say maybe it's a fleshlight.
Yeah, there you go. It's like, I mean, somebody.
Yeah, I was just looking. I'm sorry, I was lost in thought of like, I could fuck that cube.
We're so sorry he let you down.
I know. Right? I mean, it's like somebody's fucking that thing, right? But yeah, so Galvatron says the leadership matrix of the Autobots, its power incalculable. Unicron, my master, in quotes. With this, I shall make you my slave! Exclamation point.
I do like the way the Matrix. Presumably that was. I mean, I think when that comic was written, they were working off of a mid-stage script.
Yeah, the movie wasn't done,
and so they didn't really have any sense of where the design of the Matrix would go. I like the way it went and on screen versus what we saw on the page there. Ryan, why don't you take it away? What I've heard rumor that we're in for an interesting ride here.
Fucking strange.
Okay.
I'm gonna compress some of this because it's like there's a lot, but basically when we left off, it's kind of the same. Where Galvatron is shooting at the Autobots as they're running away. In this one, he pulls Perceptor aside, and the shuttle isn't destroyed, and so he pulls Perceptor aside behind the shuttle, and Ultra Magnus says, "Did you do what I asked?" And Perceptor opens something like a steel attaché case, which has been clipped to his belt, sets it down.
Attaché?
Absolutely.
Attaché case, yes, sir.
I did, but the tolerances are not quite as close as I would have liked. But then, see for yourself. Perceptor transforms to microscope mode, and Ultra Magnus looks through the eyepiece into the attaché case. Perceptor voiceover. However, they should serve the purpose. View of inside of the case. In the case are small models of Blur, Springer, RC, and Perceptor in humanoid modes. Okay. This is where I wrote, what? Wow. And then Perceptor, each is a perfect pseudo-clone in every respect. Witness the transformation capabilities. The models each transform in unison into their robot modes, or into their alt modes, and then transform back again to humanoid modes. These models do not move, just transform. Ultra Magnus looks away and says, will they fool Galvatron when they attain full size? And Perceptor says,
is that John Wayne?
I've said it like 20 episodes ago I was going to do for Ultra Magnus as John Wayne, and I've just remembered it.
Okay.
Perceptor says, of course, so long as they remain mobile, but there is every possibility Galvatron will realize they are fraudulent should termination take place. Okay. So,
wow, where are
Ultra
we
Magnus,
going,
so this
man?
is all happening while they're being fired upon by the
they're in like a little like sheltered area behind the shuttle.
Okay.
They're still being fired at. And then Ultra Magnus, say it plainly. If Galvatron examines the remains of the clones after he's destroyed them, he'll know he's been tricked. I can deal with that. Be ready. And I circled that with 3 exclamation points because I'm like, that's the first time he can deal with anything.
He does not say that. Holy shit.
He does.
He actually says he can deal with it?
I can deal with that.
That's amazing.
The Ultra Magnus ducks out and is racing away. And then Dirge peels off, firing at Ultra Magnus. Perceptor, as he draws an antenna-like apparatus from the back of the case, which contained the miniature clones. And then it starts pulsing with magnetic waves, and the small clones begin to grow and grow, rapidly expanding to resemble the full-size Autobots they will substitute for. It's like those magic grow crystal tablets you put in the water, and they grow into like sponge dinosaurs.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yes, I guess you can understand what growing means. No matter, I don't need like the analog of that.
I like that analog though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so on RC, she hurdles uphill with the Constructicons chasing after her, firing, and then she crests the hill. And Astro Train, who's been lying in wait, clutches her and pins her to the ground. Ugh, and I'm like, ew. What? I wrote ew. Yeah. And he says, "Prepare for oblivion, little she-bot."
Oh man.
Yep.
That's uncomfortable.
That's a Weinstein con.
Astro Train starts to open the door to flamethrower, which I don't know what that means. And then another angle is Daniel roars up over the hill from the opposite direction and reacts, transforming into humanoid mode, and he screams, "RC!" And Astro Train says, "You're next, microbe." And then Daniel, as he quickly aims Exoglove at Astro Train, scarcely bothering to think, shouts, "Weld him!" Oh, and Daniel's blast hits and melts his joints, fusing him into welded immobility. And yes.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, and then
kid's a little psychopath. Jeez.
RC's like, let's move. So literally, she has been saved by a child who just learned how to use an exosuit.
Whom she just ditched on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm. And then Blur shoots across the open area, the Decepticons firing missiles, and then suddenly, when in the gully, an explosion of camouflaged gas billows up, filling the gully. And everybody's like...
Camouflaged gas?
Yeah, it's convoluted.
Anyway.
I'm trying to, like, skip for time because it's so complicated. But, like, Blur says, "What happened? Cough, cough. Where am I?" And then there is another angle on Perceptor, who was holding a strange glowing lantern and beckons to Blur. "This way, quietly. It's Ultra Magnus's plan." They enter the smoke area, and they've gotten everybody together except for Springer. And Daniel says, "I don't understand what's going on." Springer springs into the smoke, looks around, pushes through, and emerges beside Perceptor. Because every time he moves, it says he springs. Ultra Magnus said to double back, but he didn't say anything about this. "Please keep your orbital projection wavelengths on a low frequency." And then we see the clones, which are now full-size replicas of the Autobots, moving away, and Galvatron flies into the scene, and the Decepticons go through the valley, and Galvatron says, "Why do you hesitate? Are you afraid of a little camouflage smoke? Blast them and keep black." And then as the replicas roar out of the smoke, followed by RC Springer, or the Blur replica roars out, followed by RC Springer and Perceptor, each of which fires as the Decepticons and take off. And I'm like, okay, this is the point where I'm like, you can make clones that have offensive capabilities. Just do that.
You just have an army. Yeah.
And then Galvatron says, "Stop them, exterminate them. Ultra Magnus is mine." This just seems like another excuse for butchering more Autobots because then they slay the replicas.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they just exterminate them. And then Springer says, "But those copies won't deceive the Decepticons once they examine the remains." And I'm like, why are they so focused on examining the remains? I do not understand.
Well, they're looking for treasure, see if there's like gems and gold and jewels and
like when you kill something in a video game.
Yeah, totally. Oh, there's a key in here. Sweet.
And then basically, the Ultra Magnus is now the only one out in the open, and he's surrounded by Decepticons getting shot. And after all the replicas are dead, Ultra Magnus is now on one knee, still fighting, one arm hanging uselessly at his side, almost severed and sparkling and smoking. Whoa. And Galvatron says,
"This is the real deal."
Yeah. This is the real. There was no Ultra Magnus clone. Galvatron says, "I've waited for this instant, Ultra Magnus. First Optimus Prime, and now you." Ultra Magnus turns to Galvatron and hurls bombs at him, but Galvatron roars and transforms and point blank delivers a blast to his face. And he is shattered, body parts melting and strewn about, his torso and head with one flailing arm attached sinks and falls in a puddle of dying sparks.
Straight up execution.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, Friedman. Galvatron kneels over Ultra Magnus, and here's where we get into the buzzsaw. He extends a razor saw extension from his hand, brings it down on Ultra Magnus's chest, and says, "Now I shall have the final prize of conquest." Cuts into his chest and extracts the life spark of Optimus Prime, which, if you remember, in this script is not a physical object; it's a ghostly tiny prime.
Right, he's like a little mini spy, basically.
Just like a tiny little, white, shining Optimus
to the
Prime.
Matrix of Leadership?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember whenever he passed it from Optimus to Perceptor, or from Optimus to Ultra Magnus, shot a beam into Prime's chest, and a ghostly Optimus Prime went out of his chest into Ultra Magnus.
There was no physical Matrix.
No.
Just the life spark.
It's the life spark, yeah. And he extracts the life spark and places it in a small bottle, which hangs around his neck.
Do they refer to it as the Matrix? Does he say anything like,
no,
the Matrix, I want it?
They call it the life spark.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
So he hangs this bottle around his neck, which is I wondered how they would deal with the non-corporeal Matrix, so they just deal with it like he's catching fireflies.
Like Tinkerbell.
Yeah. And then Victory's ours return to Earth and stop all energy supply from Majester. And then intercut to Daniel and our friends during the Life Spark operation as they react with anger and sadness. And I'm like, well, but you fucking didn't do anything about it at all. And that's the end of that minute.
Wow.
Wow.
Huh. Binoculars.
Binoculars?
Binoculars. That's a cross-reference between bananas and bonkers.
That's true.
Binoculars.
I enjoy it.
Thanks.
So while Hot Rod and Cup are on the plank, instead of whispering to each other about not being able to transform, instead, Cup we get a little payoff on that whole missing part scenario. Cup says to Hot Rod, "Remember when you put me together today?" And Hot Rod says, "Sure, that's all I've got to think about." And then Cup says, "I know what part you forgot." And so then the sentencing takes place. The fellows are dropped to their doom, and Cup, because of the, quote, missing part, is able to double-jointedly slip out of the restraints. Oh. And then Cup says, "That doohickey you lost was part of my shoulder socket. Watch this, lad. Without it, I'm as double-jointed as Houdini," which is gotta be a dated reference for Cybertronian 2005. Cup shoots off Hot Rod's restraints then, and Hot Rod says, "Wish you'd figured that out sooner." And that's how they got out.
Thanks a lot. Now,
dickhead. It seems like
I think it would have been funny if Cup was.
Wow.
Remember what is Cup's? How does Cup ask the question? What does he say?
"Remember when you put me together today? I know what parts you forgot."
So it'd be funny. Remember when you put me together today
Take two.
Remember when Cup said,
Oh my God.
I don't know if I can.
And so Ryan, what have you got?
Well, no, I want to hold on that for a second.
I just wanted to say it'd be funny if Cup said, "Remember when you put me together today?" And Hot Water was like, "Oh no." And then it just like
that paid off.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
That's all staying in. So basically he does like the Mel Gibson thing in Lethal Weapon where he gets out of the straitjacket, like because of a trick shoulder.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I can't remember what year that came out, but it sounds like maybe Ron Friedman was watching that movie.
I like this crazy cop
I like
character.
this Riggs. I bet he says terrible things to women and Jews.
What if Hot Rod is actually based on Riggs from Lethal Weapon? And of course, Cup is the Danny Glover character.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Oh, I'm gonna rewatch the movie with that as my
diplomatic
point of
immunity.
reference.
It's been revoked.
So Ryan, what do you got in terms of deviations?
If you remember on ours, on our last script deviation, whenever we talked about the Quintessons and like Arbalest getting killed, it wasn't a Sharktacon tank. It was basically an arena where he was given a stun stick and had to fight to the death.
Okay, so it was very
gladiatorial
to begin with.
Yeah, and so here we are at the arena at the Quintesson Castle compound, and they're herded in Hot Rod and Cup are herded in this arena, and they face the Quintesson leader who says, "Trespassers, you have been found guilty under the laws of Quintesson." And then the Sharktacon guards hands them each a long stun stick, clacking at them gleefully, licking its fangs with a forked steel segmented tongue. Which is a little gross.
I wish they would have added that. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I guess. Hot Rod says to Cup, "Riley, do you remember a trial? If we had one, I want to fire our lawyer." And then Cup hefts the stun stick and says, their heads seem their only soft spot, lad." Which I don't understand that sentence.
They're all head.
At all. Yeah. And then turns to Hot Rod, very solemn, and I thought this was interesting, and says, "Till all are one."
Oh,
and this comes in a couple of
That's
these
what people
episodes.
say when they're accepting death.
Yeah.
And Hot Rod, "Not so fast with that farewell stuff. I have an idea." And then we angle on the lead Quintesson. He rotates to the death's head. "Therefore, I now sentence you both to..." And then Hot Rod twirls the stun stick like a quarterstaff, exploding the heads off of two Sharktacon guards, and twirls it and forces it at the ground, and then like it runs like a pole vaulter. Hot Rod shoves the end of the stun stick into the ground just ahead of several Sharktacons, and it explodes and shoots him into the sky.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then he like launches toward the lead Quintesson in the tower, in parentheses, or grandstand. He can't decide. This comes in a lot, whether it's a tower or a grandstand. I don't know. And then the Quintesson face starts rotating, and Hot Rod volts into the shot, landing right beside the lead Quintesson and pins him against the wall using his stun stick in a horizontal position across the lead Quintesson's neck. And if you remember, this is still going off the fact they're bipedal, I think, in this script. It's still fluorodairy. And then on Hot Rod and the lead Quintesson, as the Quintesson face rotates to the angry expression, he says, "You cannot escape!" And Hot Rod says, "Maybe not, but neither can you!" And that's where we'll stop for that episode.
Very action-packed.
Yeah.
With Hot Rod and Cup taking control very quickly.
Mm-hmm. It sounds pretty cool, actually.
It's an interesting the evolution from that moment to this moment, because I guess I get what they were going for with this whole like trial, and you're found innocent, but you still die because we're ruthless, cold-blooded killers. But you don't even know what they're on trial for. Like the whole like just idea of a trial just doesn't make sense in this context. And at least in your version, I guess it makes a little more sense because I mean it says they've at least been found guilty of some trespassing or something, right? But
yeah, I guess it is weird to even have it in a trial format as opposed to just an execution. For
why not just
fun.
be sadistic?
Yeah. I guess it just makes it all seem like higher weirdness. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a strange component.
Yeah, I don't think it flows perfectly. But I'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, when you see what you want, you're gonna take it.
In my version of the story, I don't think the Sharkticon was ever meant, the Sharkticon pit was ever meant to have liquid water in it, or liquid energon or whatever.
Right.
When Cup and Hot Rod drop from the plank, it seems they land on dry land, weapons drawn, and then they decide to do the demolition derby thing, but they just transform and immediately start slamming into Sharkticon. So there's no whirlpool escape scene. There is mention of a wave of larger, more powerful Sharkticons appearing after they've done some smashing that eventually appear and overrun and overpower them.
Oh, they get overpowered.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It makes more sense that the Sharkticons would have some water to swim around in.
Yeah.
Whereas
Also, their name is Sharkticons.
I still think they should have been called Piranhacons.
Yeah.
It could have worked. I like it better.
So like
Let's write to Ron
They
Friedman
look more like piranhas.
and be like, "You dumb."
You're dumb.
Here's my critiques on your script that we're talking about on a podcast.
For fucking like 90 hours.
Yeah.
It sounded so resigned right there.
We're on the home stretch, fellas.
Both of you.
We're just going to coast this one out.
Guys, we just hit the 1 hour mark.
Yep, right here at the end of this episode.
Congratulations.
1 hour.
So Ryan, what do you got going on?
Okay, well, Cup on the arena floor. He stands with the back against the tower and holds a stun stick out menacingly as a phalanx of Sharkticons confront him. And Cup says, "Well, lad, what now?" And Hot Rod maintains a hold on the Quintesson, furrows his brow, and says, "I don't know, but I'm open to any reasonable suggestion, and I'm talking anything." And then basically the Quintesson rotates its face to a smiling expression and laughs in a very ugly manner. And that's it.
Oh,
that's all there is for this one.
What a tease.
There's a fair amount in the next
deviation.
one, yeah.
All right,
but
okay.
like again, I've been trying to keep it with what the action we see in the movie. So
that's fair enough. My script does not actually have that much different. It's closer to the movie. It doesn't really. The main difference is it really doesn't go into detail about the specifics of the action that we see on screen. Really, it sums everything up in one statement of Cup and Hot Rod are overrun. There's no grand entrance with a door flattening the prosecutor. It does say there is a, quote, war whoop, and then the Dinobots just appear. Sludge is swatting Sharkies with his tail. Grimlock is eating them. Slag is barreling into them. And Swoop is basically doing what we see on screen. There's no mention of Wheelie and his slingshot, which is fair because despite the fact that we see Wheelie attack, it doesn't really do anything.
no,
You don't really need him.
It's just an irritant.
yeah, it does appear
Pretty worthless.
that way. Yeah.
So, anyway, that's it.
This is
Jet.
pretty different. Cup is now fencing here and there with a line of Sharkticons and says, "They won't stay back much longer, Rod." And I'm like, don't call him that. That's stupid.
Even Rod Serling hated it when people called him that.
And then there is some more back and forth between the Quintesson and Hot Rod. Hot Rod says, "Get back and stay back, or I'll take apart this phony judge." And the lead Quintesson says, "How frightening." He rotates to smiling face. The lead
Wait,
Quintesson...
that's a different Quintesson than the one
No, it's the
that
one
Hot
he's
Rod-
holding.
Oh, okay.
And he says...
So you said that these were the bipedal Quintessons, but...
They still have rotating faces.
They
yeah.
still have rotating faces, okay.
Okay.
And here's where the lead Quintesson's head suddenly flies up and away from his neck, and the rest of his body falls with a clatter to the floor.
You don't need that body.
Nope.
Oh, I like this.
And he flies out and flies away. Another Quintesson shoves out a new body and neck onto which Lead Quintesson's head flies and locks itself, where he says, "Now carry out the sentence, devour them!"
That's so interesting. I can see how that evolved
Exactly,
to
yeah,
where
absolutely.
we ended up. That's crazy. That's awesome.
And then Hot Rod joins Cup at the bottom, and he says, "Well, it wasn't a bad try." "Aye, lad, not bad at all." There's more fighting between them. And then there's an angle including Quintesson, and then there's spectators and prisoners in the jail cells and stuff.
I would have liked more of that in what we saw on screen.
Well, there's the prisoners, including a huge robotoid warrior of glass with iron fittings, rattle the gates of their pen and shout encouragement to Hot Rod and Cup. Ad-libs of "keep fighting, get as many as you can," etc. The Sharkticons are closing in, and Cup says, "Till all are one." The battle on, and then there is a sudden wail where Swoop dives in with a screech, scoops up Hot Rod and Cup. And the prisoners in their pens, they shake their cages with more encouragement, and then the gates glow red, flame, and explode away to reveal Grimlock standing there, who's let them all loose, basically. And he says, "Fight!" And then on the huge glass warrior, as he roars and breaks the paling off the gate, runs to the arena and skewers 1, 2, 3 Sharkticons as other prisoners stream out and attack. And there's a bunch more fighting, and then Hot Rod says, "Let me down, Swoop, I want to kick some Quintesson!" And Swoop swoops laser breath across the arena, striking the fleeing Quintessons. And Cup says, "They're finished, Roddy, it's over!" Yeah, Roddy. I don't like it. And then on Grimlock, Wheelie riding his head, using his sling, and he roars and destroys the grandstand with one sweep of his tail, casting remaining Quintessons into the arena. And the Sharkticons turn away from the Dinobots, prisoners arriving, and clacking furiously start closing in on the Quintessons.
Okay, the tables have turned.
So a little peek into the next minute that we're going to have as well.
I also really liked the game Goonies 2. Talking about the sling.
Okay.
I was thinking about the evolution of sling to slingshot, and then for some reason it reminded me of Goonies 2.
I don't remember Goonies 2.
You never played that game?
I might have. I don't recall it.
It's haunting. It's weird. There's it's a side scroller with a lot of adventurous stuff happening, but then there's also these weird 3D elements where you're walking through different cubes, or almost like Contra, like dun 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 dun, dun, but you can go left and right, and it's more maze-ified. Ultimately, you're trying to save a mermaid. I don't understand why it exists as a game and why it's called Goonies 2 and not just Goonies, but it was a good game.
Okay.
Sorry
that was good.
Out of place.
That was good from what I talked about. That was good content for that minute.
I've completely forgotten about what you were talking about.
I've really got nothing notable.
Okay.
So Ryan, jump into the insanity.
We go to the Quintesson is the lead Quintesson says rotates to the angry expression, says, "Back, we are your masters. You dare not defy us. Back!" And then the huge glass warrior clasps hands with Grimlock, who lowers Wheelie and basically like the Sharkticons or the Quintessons are on the run. And Hot Rod says, "We can't hang around. You can handle things from now on." And the huge glass warrior robot smiles, grunts, which is weird. Cup, seeing Wheelie, looking up at him cockily. "And who might you be, my young bantam rooster bot?"
What? Bantam rooster bot?
Bantam chickens are small chickens, but it's a weird reference.
But yeah, you would know that because you raise chickens.
Yeah, but it's not maybe why it was cut. It's not a universal reference.
Bantam rooster. I mean, I get bantam. That makes sense then with bantam weight.
Bantam weight, yeah. It's like.
But I never knew it was associated with it.
Yep, that's where it comes from.
Why rooster? Because of his colors?
I think just because he's
all just a general reference to him being small.
Small and feisty.
Bantam rooster bot. I think Cup's phrases and sayings in this movie or in the script are getting more and more
insane. He might have some kind of. He has
onset
of dementia.
Autobot dementia.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So instead of Grimlock, Snudge.
None of us can speak today.
I know. Good Lord. Sludge nuzzles Wheelie with his huge head and says, "Him, Wheelie, good friend. It's UNH.
Yeah,
And then Sludge licks Wheelie like a huge dog, and Wheelie reacts, feigning disinterest but clearly pleased.
That's weird.
Resume on Hot Rod. "Nice to meet you, Squirt, but like I said, we've got to split. Our friends are counting on us to do a job." Turns away, speaks to Cup. We've got to find space transportation if we're going to make time. And I'm like, AKA ship.
Yeah.
Just say ship. Why?
Well, good editing.
Yeah.
As it turned out.
And Wheelie says, fly, sky, fly.
What?
Question.
Sky fly?
Like, that's his way of interpreting what they need to do.
I guess. Hey, kid, get lost, says Hot Rod. Cup says, wait, lad. And then to Wheelie, you know where we can find space-worthy vehicles? Again, I'm like, a ship. Just say ship. Wheelie points and says, or just points, and then it says, to a spacecraft that bears the 5-faced insignia of Quintessons. And Cup says, a Quintesson cruiser.
I wish they would have developed that logo.
Yeah.
I don't know how crazy that would have been.
They transform and take off for the ship, and the huge glass warrior robot smiles and waves, grunting his farewell.
Why did that exist?
I don't know I guess Ron Freeman really liked the idea of this glass warrior robot because it doesn't make any difference I don't know. It might have been a cool thing, but whatever. And then they get to the ship, and they get in there about to close the doors, and Wheelie's just standing there, and Hot Rod goes, okay, come on board, but I think I'm going to regret it. Which I also don't think comes back in any meaningful way. Blast off to Cheers of the Prisoners. And then we come back, we go back to Junkion.
Do you know if the Glass Warrior, if he breaks, that's 7 years bad luck?
That's it's not just glass in general, it has to be a mirror.
You just ruined my joke.
Sorry. Okay, we cut back to Junkion where the Decepticons are still there, and they're basically like, Scourge is like, should we examine the remains? And if you remember, this convoluted thing where Ultra Magnus and Perceptor had these clones of the other Autobots, and they grew in size, like, and they were just like drones that were walking around, and that's what the Decepticons destroyed while the other Autobots were hiding.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they actually destroyed Ultra Magnus, though. And then Galvatron says, carrion for the cesium crows.
More birds.
More cesium.
Yeah. And he says, yeah, fuck all that. To Earth, Decepticons. While I, Galvatron, pay a final visit to Ingester and cancel our contract forever. Which is the lamest, like, action hero catchphrase ever. It's like, that belongs in a diatribe of like, I want to cancel my membership at Planet Fitness.
I do make lots of references throughout the time we've been doing this to Megatron and or Galvatron's interactions with Unicrons. Like, I do refer to them a lot as like business meetings or having a checkpoint or an employee review. So I like that reference. I like that line.
It just, I don't know. It's not badass in any way. Cancel our contract.
I want to turn in my resignation. Yeah.
I want to quit the bank. So then they leave, and the Decepticon forces rise and escape JBL. A beat, we hold on the remains of Ultra Magnus as the remains of the replica clones of Blur, RC Springer, and Perceptor start shrinking and dissolving.
Oh yeah, those.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta get rid of those
so
somehow.
it's like if the Decepticons had stayed 30 seconds longer, they would have known it was. It's just like
it's just, I don't know.
But they didn't even destroy the clones, right? Or did
they did?
Okay.
That's why they thought they killed the Autobots, because they destroyed the clones.
All right.
And then Daniel comes into the frame and looks down at Ultra Magnus's remains. He sacrificed himself to save the rest of us.
Not really. I don't think he planned on sacrificing himself. Or did he?
I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
I think he did. And that's where we'll end.
Otherwise, he would have just put a clone of himself out there.
Oh, true.
Holding the real Matrix.
Why didn't he do that? Oh, not the real. Why didn't he have if they had clones, why not a fake Matrix?
Yeah. Well. That's
It's almost like there are holes.
That's
going to
be the premise for Transformers: The Movie 2,
Electric Boogaloo,
written by the team of the Autopod Decepticast. Really, all I have is an interesting script note on the Junkions. Pretty much everything we see on screen is in the script, but here's what the script says about the Junkions. Junkions are an interesting species. They ride themselves. That is, the Junkions ride transforms of themselves, that's their typo, not mine, so that if their vehicle breaks down, the driver will become the vehicle and the vehicle will transform to become the driver. They are gibbering, singing almost a wild kind of junk rock, war cry song, which, like their language, is constructed of bits and pieces of the museum junk of our culture. A humorous, aggressive song which makes a surreal kind of sense. Slice 'em, dice 'em, and that's all, folks, or your money back.
Wow.
Which made me think, if our friend of the show, Close Kuntosh, if you ever have the time for a side project, Junk Rock starring the Junkions would be something I would fund on Kickstarter. I mean, partially fund, not totally fund. I don't have all the money in the world here. So, and then Caleb will also like the fact, and I think Ryan was going to go into this maybe a little bit, that the script describes the action we see on screen as Road Warrior style chase.
Okay. So they've taken it directly from the movie.
So you're right, yeah. That's
So the love of my favorite movie ties into this movie.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I didn't even pick that up until I read the script, but I mean, obviously, since that's your favorite movie, that makes sense, and I guess it did translate well to the screen.
Awesome.
Good job, everybody. Ryan, what have you got for us?
Yeah, so we, at my point, we're looking at Ultra Magnus's remains, and Daniel has said, Ultra Magnus, he sacrificed himself for the rest of us, and Springer puts a hand on Daniel's shoulder and says, he loved existence, Daniel, but he loved us and the future of Earth even more. Which is the clunkiest dialogue I've ever.
Can you imagine that at a real funeral, like when Caleb dies?
Yeah.
I'll give a eulogy.
He loved
He
existence.
loved to be alive. Caleb.
Living was good for him, and now he doesn't. The ghost of myself will be thankful that I'm not around to hear that bullshit. We're not coming to your funeral. I'm not inviting you to my funeral. I wonder if you could make a guest list for your funeral. Or specifically have instructions in your will. This person is not allowed. I'm sure that's possible. Okay, so Blur comes in agitated, very fast, very nervous. The time for mourning is not at hand. There is no occasion now to look back and reflect on the meaning of life or anything else. What? Yeah. Perceptor says, what are you trying to say? Blur points off them. And the them that he's pointing at is Wreckguard, an army of Junkions, as they are moving into battle array at our friends and the shuttle, which I was like, oh yeah, the shuttle hasn't been destroyed in this version. The Junkions are on motorized tricycle-like vehicles and cut down junk-built buggies and tanks a la the vehicles in Road Warrior. And they are gibbering, singing almost in a wild kind of junk rock war cry song. Like you said, Aaron. And I'm like, all right, I can see it. And then basically, Wreckguard's lines are exactly the same here as we see on screen. Then we have a Road Warrior-style chase, and there is a Junkion with a Nazi-type helmet. And he runs along, and then alongside Springer, throwing the grappling hook, basically the same thing there. And Springer knocks him down. Daniel says, way to go, Springer! And but Springer says, hold the congratulations, because as the guy who gets knocked down keeps skidding through the roadside junk, the junk starts sticking and restructuring itself around him, so he starts rising up, still skidding forward in a new humanoid junk body shape, fully operational. So instead of actually reattaching an arm, he is actually rebuilding himself with the junk that he is smashing into. Yeah, kind of like a nanotech kind of thing, I guess.
Like a snowball sort of situation, rolling up a hill, but except a junk ball turning into a robot.
Or down a hill. It's on flat ground.
Yeah. Which the way they did it, I mean, they did a stripped down version of that, basically. You couldn't really, I mean, you could animate that, but it's very complicated. Like, I guess the way they did it is just, we can stick our arms back on.
Right.
And then on RC, a Junkion in a steel turban with a cobra head in the center, which feels a little racist, starts coming at her, but she bounces him off again. He rebuilds himself, and that's where she says they're indestructible. And
sounds like Serpentor.
No, Serpentor didn't have a turban on.
Sounds like he had the cobra hood. He had the cobra hood thing, yeah.
Which also had an additional cobra kind of at the tip, didn't it?
And that cobra had another cobra.
And then Daniel skids, stopping his exosuit as he reacts to what's ahead, where he says, they're everywhere! And then that's where the Junkions rise out of the junk, and that's where that minute ends.
regarding that scene with the shining eye, the script has a very different description of what happens on Retgar. He gnashes his teeth and grins, and then blinks his eyes, which roll to show eyes like ping pong balls.
What?
Retgar makes blipping noises as he does this.
Okay, so I understand.
Instead of the eye shining.
So I was like, what the fuck is this?
I still don't really understand what that is.
It was a compromise on that. But what does ping pong ball eyes mean?
That's in mine too.
Don't know. I guess it was a
But
vestigial of Ryan's
how,
bonkers
it's
script.
Interesting, real quick. It's interesting how they will. Okay, so that is like, they'll do that to what, appease the writer, or like, I don't see why they would need that at all. But maybe it's just like, okay, look, we need to have something at this point, and so they put a glint.
We need to go to a writing room, I guess.
Right, but I'm sure Ryan might elaborate.
I
on
can
this.
maybe like shed some light on it, not much, but like in my script as we start, it's right after the Junkions pop out of the junk, and then Springer, RC, Daniel, Perceptor, and Blur are all like around, like they close ranks and look at the Junkions, and Perceptor says, "Maybe they're not as mean as they look." And then Retgar, that's the point where he gnashes his teeth, grins, blinks his eyes, which roll to show eyes like ping pong balls with dots in them, then roll back. Retgar makes blipping noises as he does this.
What the fuck is that all about?
Dots?
And then Springer says, "Hold that thought" to Perceptor, which is like, maybe they're not as mean as they look. Hold that thought after that display. But I'm like, but that's not a threatening display. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Haven't they already been fighting up to this point in this version of the
I'm
script?
trying to figure out why that demonstration in his eyes would somehow communicate to the audience of the script, us or whoever, that they are not evil. I really don't.
Why would they do it to begin with, and why would that thing convey that thing?
I don't think they're like. First of all, so he says, I don't think that. Obviously, we eventually need to understand that they're not on the Decepticon side or against the Autobots. But the fact that they say, I don't think they're. What does he say?
He says maybe they're not as mean as they look, but
and then they do that to demonstrate it.
To demonstrate they are mean, because then Springer says, "Hold the thought."
I think it's fucking weird.
It's just very weird, yeah. And then basically, like, because next, RC looks at Junkion, stifles a scream, holds Daniel close to her. Junkion flips out a snipping tool with a blowtorch head, starts moving toward RC with snippers working, laughing as he moves in. Then Daniel, stepping in front of RC bravely, "He'll have to get by me first." And then Springer moves toward RC protectively as Blur also takes a fighting pose. And I'm like, guys, she can fight. Like, I hate this protecting of RC. Like, because she's a woman, they wouldn't. If you substitute any other Autobot in there, it's very weird.
You know what's kind of sad is that instead of giving RC the opportunity to knock out Retgar, they give it to the child.
I know that's always, but yeah, and also I question as to like. I don't know why I like Perceptor saying maybe they're not as mean as they look. I think maybe he'd say more like threatening.
Based on what?
Because he speaks very clinically and specifically. Like I just don't think he'd say mean.
Oh, I don't say. I'm not asking like how he's saying it. What is?
Yeah.
What's
I don't know why he said. Like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Then,
either.
So I guess then their behavior is to demonstrate that they're a wild card.
I don't know, man.
It's weird.
Anyway, that's it.
That's weird.
Maybe that is what it is.
Then the ship starts coming over. There we go. That's the end of that.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Yeah, I hate everything about it.
I don't like it.
That's it. We kind of ended on a real down, sour note there, didn't we? Which is not par for the course. All right, we have merely one more part of Script Deviations to go. Probably, you know what? No matter, we're gonna have a part 5, and that's gonna be the end of it. I think gosh, there's more content here than I definitely thought there was. I hope you guys are not enjoying it. I think we're probably gonna skip a release next week just due to the holidays and the fact that the three of us are recording an all new episode for your listening pleasure to put in your ear holes. Please like, comment, subscribe. We're on Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iTunes. 5 stars, please. We are at APODcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, email, all the things. Say, ladies and gentlemen, our store is open. Head on over to our website, autopoddecepticast.com, and check it out and check it in. Until next time, dear listeners, pistols at dawn. Bye, bye, bye.
Blow cells, where we sell good.